Good morning, guys, from Kyiv, Ukraine. I'm here today with James Vasquez from the East Coast, right? Are you living in Connecticut, or?
Originally from Brooklyn, New York, but my last residence was Connecticut, yes.
Norwalk resident who fought on the battlefields all over Ukraine for months is now sharing his story with News 12 in his first local TV interview.
For Norwalk resident James Vasquez, he's making space for a new beginning.
All right, listen, Vic, I got 35 encrypted radios coming to you, all right? Get chilled pretty good here.
In a place with incoming fire.
Vic, you all right?
Camaraderie.
All right.
And war.
Your head down.
So we're sitting in a really quiet backyard right now. Very different from where you were just a couple weeks ago. What's it like being back?
It's odd.
And I've seen you all over the news. You've been in a lot of interviews. You were fighting on the front line. And now you're back.
I am back.
That's crazy. But so I've heard a lot about, I've seen a lot of the news clips, what you've been doing recently, but like, what was your life like before you were military back in the U.S.?
Just normal. In construction management and building high-rise buildings in New York City, and just a regular, pretty charmed life.
So you had like a pretty good chill life back in Connecticut. It's nice, nice. It's a nice state.
I'm not getting shot at or shelled at all day. I want to be back over there with my guys.
Free tank here. Free tank. 1, 2, 3, 4 Russian tanks taken out. Call that a good day.
Yeah, I mean, Norwalk, Connecticut, beautiful place. Had a beautiful house, and boats and motorcycles, and everything a girl could want. But once this started happening over here, I decided that I needed to come over here and help.
Now, I don't know if you guys know what this is behind me, but that's a Russian tank. Russian tank that was taken out. Welcome to America! Welcome to America! Another day in paradise. Got a couple guys that got shot just a little while ago. Going to the rear with a tank. Got my man right there, my commander. He's got the USA patch on the shoulder. We got burning buildings. We got mortars. We got rockets. We got all the fun stuff to make it a beautiful day.
But prior to your civilian life, were you in the military in the U.S.?
Yeah, I was in the United States Army.
Okay, for how long?
Collectively for 14 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
4 years active and 6 years reserve, and 4 years IRR. So.
Okay, cool. So, and during that time, did you have any like deployments, any combat?
Yeah, I was in Kuwait during Desert Storm, and I was in Iraq after 9/11, and got back out. And, I was out for 8 years, and then after 9/11, I went back in, and then I got out again, and so now this is a whole different animal right now.
Yeah. So I guess even before Ukraine, we need to thank you for protecting America. So thank you very much for that.
My honor.
And now we are in Khreshchatyk, which is the main street of Kyiv. From what I saw last, you had gone back to the U.S. after fighting in Irpin, Bucha, and on the front lines in Donbass for.
Yeah, I mean, you can only be here for I'm actually trying to get a visa over here, but you can only be here for under 90 days before you lose citizenship. So I had to go back eventually.
You mean lose citizenship? I mean, in the
U.S. citizenship, yeah.
Why?
That's just the law. I don't know.
Because you're fighting, or just because you're?
No. Just that's just how it goes.
Okay, so like for visa requirements.
Yeah. So
okay.
So I had to go back home.
And
while I was back home, I went and sold my house and sold everything and all my toys, and decided to come back. I am a nomad right now. I have no place to go.
Wow.
But to be here.
So you had like a very normal, good life back home.
Sure did, yeah.
nice house, boats. What made you decide to sell all this?
I just don't like bullies, you know. And it started out with me thinking about my grandmother.
Vasquez takes on adventures, risks, and says he stands up for the little guys.
All right. So far, we took out 7 Russian tanks.
That's because the 47-year-old says he was bullied growing up back in Brooklyn, and his grandmother fled Soviet-controlled Latvia during World War II.
She was smart enough to flee, and her whole family got slaughtered by Russians. There we go. It's go time.
Vasquez flew to Poland, crossed the border into Ukraine.
Now, I don't know if you guys know what this is behind me, but that's a Russian tank.
He took on the task of clearing villages outside of Kyiv, then moved to the front lines in Donetsk Oblast in eastern Ukraine.
It's been a crazy day, but I shit you not, I just stole a 50 caliber machine gun off of a tank.
Holy shit, what's going on over there? Because I knew I had to come back and help these people. So I decided that I'm going to come back, fight the rest of the war, and use my construction management background to help rebuild when it's over. So yeah, it's been a life-changing experience.
I mean, that's kind of it. Like, do you have a big safety net at home? Do you have like $1 million in the bank, or?
No. I mean, I got a couple bucks, but you know, I'm not poor, but I am certainly not rich.
Yeah.
I just have a plan to help these people. I've learned to love them. I've learned to, you know, respect the Ukrainian way. These people are, you know, the United States, we have a lot of bipartisanship. We have a lot of division. And over here, it's just such a beautiful thing that everybody's just all for one and one for all. And
yeah, I felt that.
I can. The United States can learn a lot from Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, the new
How they
nickname,
conduct themselves.
like we've been calling it I've seen it called the Divided States of America lately.
Well, I mean, it is.
Let us be the nation that we know we can be. A nation united, a nation strengthened, a nation healed.
This is America.
The night Joe Biden won the US presidential election, but right now the country is looking torn in ways that we've never seen before.
If violence happens, like it happens, but we're not going to start it.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, the reality is it is, unfortunately. But, you know, that's why it's such a... No, listen, it becomes harrowing, you know, the experiences that I've had over here, but it's also beautiful. So, I mean,
Yeah.
look, we're
yeah.
in Kyiv right now.
It's like a sunny,
Everybody is walking around and just going about their life.
yeah.
And, you know, knowing that there's a war not too far from here.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, this is what I always loved about Ukrainians is they're strong. I mean, they're just, you know,
God,
they don't
it's,
complain.
Very, very resilient people. I mean, the guys that I fought with in the beginning, not too far from here, just 10 kilometers away. When you really think about it, I was in Bucha, and you know, we're sitting on Zelensky's doorstep right now, and this is how close they came to.
I mean, literally, Zelensky's office is just up the hill.
I know exactly where it is.
And we're very lucky that we had guys like you, but also all the Ukrainian soldiers, all the volunteers, who kept them out of the center of Kyiv, because Russia wanted to come, despite what they say, they wanted to capture Kyiv.
This was their big prize. So, so you know, when I first came here, Kyiv was barren. Everybody had evacuated because, you know, just for that reason, they thought Russia was going to be able to come in here.
Yeah,
and
it was scary. I mean, like, honestly, including me. On February 24th, I woke up to 70 text messages saying, "Johnny, the war started. Get the fuck out." And I had to decide, like, am I going to be more of an asset or a liability staying? And unfortunately, with no military experience, I was really bad at the language. I don't speak any Ukrainian. I speak really terrible Russian.
Nor do I. So, you know, those are some of the challenges fighting for another country when there's a language barrier. But, you know, I've managed to navigate my way through it. So.
Yeah, but actually, speaking of that, how were you received as an American coming here?
Open arms. Yeah. They were just happy to have me. You know, I if you've been following me, you know the story. I went to the Foreign Legion. Foreign Legion got bombed over in Lviv. They didn't know what to do with me. I hooked up with a British soldier who was Ukrainian-born. Oh, that's cool. Who is Ukrainian-born and you know, speaks the language, and you know, just new guys that were fighting on the front line because he lived there and he hasn't seen them since, you know, they were young men. He's been in UK for 22 years. So hooked up with him and we made our way to the front lines and hooked up with a unit, and they were happy to have us. And to this day, I'm still fighting with them.
Wow. So yeah, I can imagine that back in March when you first came out, like they were just excited to see that the world was with them, that they weren't alone, that they weren't, you know, the only ones, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, we were received with open arms. You know, him and I had experience, and we were able to, you know, help these guys out, train them up. I raised a bunch of money and was able to fit out their weapons. You know, they had nothing. They were barely had uniforms. So, you know, I got them all a bunch of body armor, Kevlar, red dot sights, ACOG sights, you know, taught them how to shoot, zeroed in their weapons, you know, everything that it takes to be able to fight like gentlemen.
So I'm not a military guy, so I know nothing about, you know, guns. I don't even play Call of Duty. All right.
I love Call of Duty.
All right. How important is it to have your gun fitted out? Because I know they had AKs, but, you know, they didn't have any, you know.
Well, these AKs are very old. Every one of them are, I haven't seen anything like, you know, rather new. So, so yeah, fitting out these weapons are a big deal. It's, you know, even their butt stocks were just falling off. You know, they have the old wooden butt stocks, and so I went and got them a bunch of butt stocks and, you know, rails for their sights and all these things to, you know, kind of modify their weapons.
But like, okay, so like in the field, like what is the difference between having like a crappy old AK-47 with no sights versus having a kitted out like?
It makes all the difference in the world to you know, go from old iron sights to you know, being able to. I mean, listen, I don't even know if the iron sights were zeroed in properly. It's you know, these weapons are just ancient. So
yeah,
to be able to have a red dot sight or a ACOG and go down to the range and zero everything in so these guys can shoot straight, it's a huge thing just from that. I mean,
it's literally a matter of life and death.
Sure,
you can
thing.
shoot from further away, be safer.
Yeah, and
be more accurate.
Yeah, and shoot true and straight, and that's obviously important when you're engaging.
Yeah,
you know, on the front lines.
It's a good day. All right. So far, we took out 7 Russian tanks. After a long firefight, took control of the area. Right now, we're going to just kind of sweep around and see what we got left. Some stragglers. Take them out. Call it a day.
How you doing? Welcome to America. Welcome to America. Thank you. Welcome to America.
All right. Well, so we've been walking around this kind of exposition, I guess. What would you call this?
I would call it a great parade for Ukrainians to show how bad the Russians are doing right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russian tanks, and well, I mean, I don't even know what these things are. Like,
I probably personally took a couple of these things out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, they call them kind of trophies. They call them like a.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I see, you know, on a regular basis. Except they're actually working.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Actually, you know, can you speak on that? Like, to us, they look like, you know, almost kind of like toys sitting here. You know, they're like, oh yeah, it's just sitting here, like you know, just a piece of art. But when they're when they're driving at you 60 miles an hour,
they're a little more scarier when they're coming at you. But I've taken out collectively about you know, between armored vehicles and tanks, 19 of them.
Wow.
With Javelin rockets.
And were these javelins supplied by like the U.S. and EU, or
they were provided by the United States.
Wow.
That's the one thing that I've seen here that's been plentiful is Javelin rockets. So there's no shortage of them, and clearly, you know, this is important to have because look at this. I mean, these are all the vehicles that are coming at us.
Yeah. So the last guy I had, military guy that I had on this channel was a Roman javelin fighter, part of the Azov, and he's been out there on the front lines. What do you think about all this kind of like, I don't know, Russian propaganda or bullshit saying that all Ukrainians are Nazis and?
Well, it's ridiculous. I mean, if anybody can believe that, then I feel sorry for them. Clearly these people aren't Nazis. We're walking around right now, and look at them. They're just wonderful, beautiful people. There's no Nazism over here. Not that I've seen that at all. I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to say, but it's just as ridiculous as them saying that all these ammo dumps are getting blown up because Russians are smoking. It's just it's ridiculous propaganda. So it's the propaganda machine. In Russia is so. They're great at what they do when it comes to propaganda.
Yeah, I'm sure under this video there's gonna be comments, some Russian bots saying, like, "Oh, it's all fake.
Yeah,
there's no war. People are, look, people are walking around safely."
Well, listen, I've put enough videos out there to show people that there is a war. Lest anybody thinks there's not. We're fighting, and we're fighting hard, and we're winning.
I mean, because you wouldn't have sold your house and all your stuff if you didn't see and know that this is a war worth fighting.
And I also wouldn't have done it if I didn't believe we can win. So it's not if we win, it's when we win. This is I can give you a absolute guarantee just fighting with these guys and knowing their resilience and their they have nothing but heart, and their skills are catching up to their heart. And I see Russia floundering right now. Their morale is low, our morale is high. And and getting back to what I was saying, the propaganda machine in Russia is so outstanding that they even made us believe, the United States believe for the last 50 years that they were number 2 superpower in the world. They can't even take over Ukraine.
Yeah.
These guys aren't as good as they say.
I mean,
it's a big lie.
Yeah. 3 days. That was supposed to be the
2 to 3 days. Yeah. When was that? 6 months ago?
Yeah. But we were scared as crap. I mean, like, all right, I'll tell you from someone living here's point of view. All the Ukrainian friends I had before the war happened, none of us believed that Russia was stupid enough to attack Kyiv or actually invade Ukraine. And that's why most people didn't leave, including myself. They're like, no, there's no freaking way. Russia is like, they know there's zero chance they can capture and hold Kyiv. They're not going to attack. And when the war started,
and sure enough, they did.
We were like, oh fuck, these guys, Putin and his minions are insane. We don't know what's going to happen next.
Well, unfortunately for them, this is the result of them actually doing this.
Yeah.
What they did was expose their weakness rather than their power. So, this is historically, they've been doing this for a long time, and and been getting away with it, and the public at large in other countries don't really pay attention to it. But for some reason, Ukraine really got on the radar, and they just exposed their weakness. They're terrible soldiers. They're undisciplined. They're committing war crimes and atrocities on a regular basis. I mean, they're just I've seen it firsthand. It's just too sad for words sometimes when you see what they do and what they leave behind in these villages and what they do to these people. So
it's crazy. I've been to some of these places that you helped save and liberate, Irpin, Bucha, Gosmol, after the fact, and I interviewed the villagers and the people living there. It's insane. What?
Oh yeah, I mean,
and it's like this family behind us.
My first battle was in Bucha, and it was Russian occupied for about a month. And once we liberated the village, I started talking to the people, and they were like, "Hey, talk to that guy. His daughter was raped. Talk to that woman. He took all her food and took over her house and threw her out." And it's just when you hear all this stuff, you can't help but to want to help these people. I mean, it's just bananas what these guys are doing. So
yeah, absolutely.
86-year-old Olha Molchanova is greeted by her 2 children as she arrived in Kyiv.
Молилася. Кожний день молюся солдатів, котрі захищають нас, щоб їм мужності дав Бог, щоб їм силу дав.
Намагалися вириватися, вони роздавлені танками машини.
So one of the reasons why I make these videos is I know in the first 2 months, Americans and kind of the whole world were, you know, they're really interested in, they're really supporting Ukraine, but that has dropped. You know, people have kind of moved on to...
Yeah, I mean, listen, 9/11 happened and, you know, that dropped. You know, it's always going to, people are going to move on. But that's why I do all this, is to, and that's why I tweet so much and I put all this content out there just so people, you know, still remember that this is still happening. And it's not
Because some of this
away.
is fresh, right? Like some of these tanks and everything, they're not from, you know, 5 years ago of history with ended war. It's like
this is all these things just happened, you know.
Yeah, and they're happening now still today.
And I love the resiliency of Ukrainians to even put this out there and just say, hey, look what we're accomplishing. I mean, look at this beast over here.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these. But at the same time, this is a little bit of a big fuck you to Russia, but also it's a target. Like Russia's still bombing Ukraine. They're still sending missiles.
Yeah, but it just shows their resiliency. It just shows that, you know, look, we're putting our, you know, excuse my language, we're putting our dick on the table, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not giving up. And this is a byproduct of you sucking at what you do.
Can you show me some of these things? I know nothing about tanks and warfare. Can you tell me like what you see?
Well, you know, there's some T-34s, T-72s. These are just, you know, Russian tanks. These tanks are, they all have very weak spots.
Yeah.
You can take one out with a javelin pretty easily. Unlike, you know, an M1A1 in the United States, it's you got to really hit that thing hard to disable it. But look, it's just one javelin rocket will take out any one of these things.
Maybe you can kind of point out like one of these destroyed tanks. Maybe we can try to see where it was hit.
Well, let's look around. I mean, I don't know if they hit an IED or they got hit by a rocket, but I mean, I don't see. I mean, it could have been as easy as somebody jumping on top of there and dropping a grenade right in. You know, obviously the top over here is what went up in flames, so they might have just jumped on it and dropped a grenade. This one is clearly been torched 100%.
Yeah, when something's torched, like how does that actually happen?
These Ukrainians are very ingenuitive. I mean, it could be a Molotov cocktail, it could be a AT-4 rocket, it could be a javelin rocket. It's you know, I can't give you history on something that I don't know, but obviously this thing has been shot up pretty good. You can see over here they have a piece of fuel over here that was clearly blown up. That might have been the demise of this one. Yeah, this is that's a crew of guys that didn't make it out there.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I see this little warning sign printed here. I feel like in the U.S. this would never be allowed to.
Oh no, I
little kids hanging out.
I really wish the U.S. was more like us. I mean, more like Ukraine, because this is actually pretty awesome to see.
Yeah. So what is this thing?
These are HIMAR rockets.
So Russia also have HIMARS.
This might have just been a Ukrainian.
Oh, that would just ended up getting hit.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Welcome to Ukraine.
Welcome, дякую.
Дякую, слава Україні.
Героям слава.
Героям слава. Дякую.
Yeah. Actually, no. Speaking of which, like how, like in general, how do Ukrainians like treat you? They know you're here fighting for them, risking your life.
I've never had a bad experience with any one Ukrainian over here. I mean, it's everybody's just been wonderful to me. Especially, you know, from time to time, in a lot of places I go, people kind of recognize me because, you know, I've gained this notoriety, and everybody's just completely amazing. And even the people who don't know me, they're just wonderful. They're just great people. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah, it's absolutely the reason why I moved here. before the war,
Yep.
you know, people were just always nice. Like, you know,
and they're accepting of everyone. You
Yeah.
know, it's not. There's no. I haven't come across any racism here, any indifference. You know, they're just accepting of everyone, and
Yeah.
that's.
By the way, Vasquez, like, what's your like ethnic background?
I am Puerto Rican and Latvian. My
Okay.
grandmother was Latvian. And my mom, you know, hails from Latvia, even though she was born in France because my grandmother had to flee the war in World War II. So you can, you know, she'll say she's French, but she's Latvian.
Yeah.
And
so she
and my
escaped
father's from Puerto Rico.
the USSR.
Yeah, she. My grandmother fled the war. She. My whole family was on her side was annihilated by Russians in 1941, and my grandmother and my mom moved to the United States when my mother was 15 years old, and she didn't speak a lick of English, and she managed to, you know, kind of navigate her way through life and kind of get over all that stuff.
So a little bit of this is I don't want to say revenge, but
it's very personal to me. Very personal, which is the primary reason why I came here. It's my grandmother used to tell me these stories about what the Russians did to her family when I was very young, and then once February 24th hit, I'm watching this on TV and seeing exactly what she told me about, and that's what encouraged me to come here and do this, because it's no longer theater of the mind. It's something I'm actually seeing.
Before February 24th, the only I've met like just normal Russians like traveling and stuff. Right? I've never actually even been to Russia, but I just assume that it's like it's 2022. People are more civilized now. We live in a civilized world. People have the internet. We're well connected. There's no reason to act like barbarians from the 1800s anymore.
Yeah, that's.
And I gave Russia the benefit of the doubt. I was like, no.
I did too. When I first got here, I was like, well, I think these guys are getting lied to. I don't know that they actually know what they're doing. They were told they were coming for operations and yada yada yada. But I lost my sympathy for them very quickly when I saw what they actually do to people once they're in country. So there's in one hand. If they're in the wrong place and for the wrong reasons and they realize it, that's understandable. But when you're in the wrong place for all the wrong reasons and you commit these atrocities, I lost my sympathy for them very quickly. So it's
because I feel like they always have a choice, right?
Everyone does. It's look, it's not unheard of for soldiers to commit war crimes. It's been happening for since the beginning of the world. But for so many, these guys are being told to commit these war crimes. They're
being rewarded for it. I mean, like
they're being rewarded for it. Yeah.
People getting medals for being in these places where they're committing these war crimes.
It's an awful thing. I just don't. I just can't understand. I mean, listen, I don't want to get too graphic, but you just everybody's seen that video a couple of weeks ago where this Russian soldier just cut off a man's genitals.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of that?
I mean, here's the crazy thing. They think that if they can intimidate Ukrainians, that they would be scared to fight.
Well, guess what? That just makes them more pissed off, and that's going to make them more motivated to win.
And Ukraine doesn't have an option just to stop fighting.
Yeah.
Like
these guys will never give up their country. I can assure you.
Yeah. 1,000,000%. Like even if Russia was able to take over Kyiv in 3 days, there's no way they would have held it because Ukrainians wouldn't just accept a new Russian government. Ukrainians now understand what democracy is and what freedom is.
Ukrainians are hard as coffin nails. What they lacked in skills in the beginning, they had in heart, and now their skills are catching up to their heart, and it's just going to get harder and harder for Russians, and it's going to get easier and easier for Ukrainians. The difference between when I was first here and now is they've gotten a lot more sophisticated. So it was a lot of urban warfare. in the beginning, and now it's become more of a trench warfare. So it kind of like went from World War II to World War I type of situation, but they've adapted to it, and so they have drones, and they're able to call in airstrikes and all these things that they weren't able to do in the beginning. And they have command centers. I mean, it's just they're becoming so much more sophisticated and adapting to this war that and the Russians are just basically the same way they were from the beginning, and the morale is low, and their skills suck, and Ukrainians are getting better and the Russians are getting worse. So yeah.
Since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, both sides have seen limited progress while enduring massive casualties.
For the Russians, it's a fight to hold on and to keep the territory that they've gotten, to be able to recruit the kinds of military personnel that they need to continue this fight. From the Ukrainian perspective, they're using special forces to get in behind Russian lines to be able to blow up supply depots, blow up airports. So this is not only demoralizing for the Russians, but it's very, very useful operationally and strategically for the Ukrainians.
So I know a lot of people are, supposedly conscripted into Russia's army. They don't really want to be there. I feel like there's always a way out. Like if I had to shoot myself in the leg or something, like if you were that, like if someone was in that situation, like a Russian soldier is like, I don't really want to be here.
Yeah.
Like, can't they find some way out to fucking leave, or just like not shoot, or shoot?
I don't know. I can't speak for Russians, but I can speak for Ukrainians because that's who I fight with and that's who I know. And in Connecticut, I lived in a large Ukrainian community, actually. Guy I know who owns a restaurant. All his employees were Ukrainian.
Okay.
These guys were happy in the United States. They had their out. They all moved back. The guy had no employees left.
Wow.
Because people were just coming here by the droves just to go back to fight for their country. And that includes Victor, who's been in Europe and UK for 22 years. Just up and left. He was in the UK Army.
Wow.
He got thrown out of the Army because they found out he was over here fighting, which is awful for them to do. But that shows you the the people of Ukraine. They're just they're all in.
Yeah.
No one is folding over here. That's for sure.
100%. 100%. So speaking of which, I know.
Look at how proud these people are.
Yeah, I mean. So I know it's a big no-no for active military people to come participate in the war. What actually happens if they do?
You couldn't come here if you were active in the United States Army for sure. Just like Victor, who was active in the UK military, he got released from the military, and it's a conflict of interest, of course. Particularly because this is a non-NATO country, so no military is actually supporting active members to come here. You really just can't. I would imagine if you were in the United States Army or Marines or Navy or whatever, there would be a heavy penalty.
Is it like jail time or like a fine?
You know what? I don't know exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
But it would be frowned upon.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I know, like, it's, if you enjoy the military, you're kind of signing a contract. Is it possible to get out of that to come fight, or no?
No. I mean, you got to fulfill your contract. That is probably the worst excuse that you could possibly have to, military, to go fight for another country. No, you just have to be, most of the guys here are, former veterans. That's what the Foreign Legion is all about. It's former vets that, came here to step up to fight. Now, I'm not signatory to anyone, so I'm actually kind of, I'm like a stray dog over here, just fighting with Ukrainians. I embedded myself with Ukrainians from the beginning, so I have no plans to join the Legion, only because me and Rip Rawlings, former Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Army, started Ripley's Heroes, this foundation, and so while I'm not on the front lines, the reason why I'm here right now is, as a matter of fact, not too far from here. I don't want to, blow up their spot. There's another organization called Come Back Alive.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
And so we've partnered up with them, and I've been keeping all the stuff that we get and buy from from our donations over at their warehouse right here, and right now I'm just waiting for some things that got tied up in at the Polish border. A ton of drones and Kevlar and some encrypted radios. And as soon as that clears, I'm going to head to Lviv. I'm going to pick up all that stuff along with another truck and then go back down range with it. So this is why I'm here. You know, I would rather be with my men in the front lines right now, but being in Kyiv and seeing all this beauty isn't too bad either.
Yeah.
Instead of sleeping on a.
It kind of reminds you of what you're fighting for, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, look at this. This is just an amazing thing. You want to go to Come Back Alive and see what we
Yeah,
do?
please. All right, so we're inside Come Back Alive, and what is all this stuff here?
So we got 100 pieces of body armor over here. We have.
Can you pick some of these up?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even seen anything up close. Like
level 4 body armor, you can see that.
Wow, it's heavy.
It's not,
Fuck.
yeah,
You know, I can barely lift that, and I can curl.
It's necessary evil, though.
That's not what 50 Cent's wearing in his music videos.
No, sir. No, this has got to stop at 7.62 rounds. So over here we have like a bunch of red dot sights, lasers.
Wow. And those are expensive, right?
Yeah, all the stuff is expensive. Medical equipment, chest compressors, all tourniquets, all the stuff that you need to save a man's life down in the field.
Wow.
Extra batteries for our electric motorcycles. These guys are amazing. So they have like a laser engraver. So everything that we have here, we put Ripley's Heroes on it and right now for sale because.
So it doesn't get lost.
Just so people don't do anything nefarious with our equipment. Pistol holders.
One thing that's interesting about Ukraine is it's easy to get a long gun, like a pistol. I mean, no, just like a AK, but it's hard to get a pistol, right?
Yeah, well, I managed to get my hands on one.
But it's like the complete opposite in the U.S. It's like having a pistol is not nearly as cool as having an AK.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is actually harder to get pistols than AKs, and yeah, it is the complete opposite in America. But I don't want to take up too much time over here. So.
All right.
This is some fun stuff.
Wow. These are some souvenirs.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's.
All right, so it was super interesting seeing the Come Back Alive Foundation. That's a local Ukrainian foundation that you guys are working with, or what?
They've been around since 2014, since Crimea. So they're a very established foundation, and that's what Ripley's Heroes are. Well, that's what we're trying to be, one day, and independently on our own. And we're a very young organization, so what we've accomplished in the last several months, and we're only several months old. Has been extraordinary. So we'll be there one day, but we're partnering up with them, and we're in DC with having a fundraiser with them just several weeks ago. And so the founders of Come Back Alive were in DC. We were all at Rick Rolling's house, and we had a great time, and it was good to meet good people, and sat around talking Turkey and figuring out how we can just make this better and work together, and it's just has been an amazing experience. With all the good people that I've met here.
Speaking of good people, have you met other Americans out here doing good things, or other foreigners?
I've met Americans, I've met Australians, I've met guys from Latvia, I've met guys from everywhere. It almost seems to be never ending how many people are here from different countries, and how everybody is always willing to help each other and work together. So, just the other day, I met a kid. I actually tweeted it out. This 26-year-old kid who was the youngest member of Parliament over here in the UK.
Okay.
And so I saw his gear was like all banged up. So he was actually outside my apartment. I said, hey, wait a second. I'll be right back. Went in my truck. I happened to have like a new butt stock for his rifle, red dot sight for him. His Kevlar was dog shit. It was almost, you might as well have a bicycle helmet. So I gave him my original Kevlar that I fought with my night vision. And, he was so appreciative. kind of find out when I put his picture out there, you know, I asked him, hey, look, you mind if I tweet this out? People knew who he was. And it turns out the love of his life was the reporter and got killed by Russians. And so the youngest member of parliament put on a uniform and said, I'm fighting because they killed his girlfriend. So, you know, that's just one of a million stories that I hear all the time. And, you know, so him and I are going to link up when I get to Lviv. And, yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking when you hear these stories. And, you know, so somebody sent me a link with him sending pictures out of his girlfriend, the love of his life, who was killed. And you know, it's not something he even told me. It's just something I found out by accident. And so, you know, it just made it that much more special that I was able to do that for him.
Man, you know, I feel like really honored to spend the day with you. I heard your story firsthand. Like, thank you for fighting, you know, not only for the U.S. and for the whole world's freedom, but especially for Ukraine. It's my home now, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, this is my second home right now. I mean, it's not a place I'm gonna leave anytime soon. I love this country, and I love the people, and it's an honor for me to be here and do what I'm doing.
For the people watching back home, like, what can they do to help? They want to help support
Ripley's Heroes. Just you know, it's, you know, monetary value is our biggest asset over here, so we can buy what these guys need for them. Every penny goes back to the soldiers and these units that we're supporting. Everybody works that's in our organization are working pro bono. So so the only overhead we have really is, like, you know, when you donate through PayPal, they take like 3%. So we have a 3% overhead. So almost, you know, so essentially 97% of the money we raise are able to just get pumped back into Ukraine and help the soldiers. So yeah, Ripley'sHeroes.org. You know, that's the only thing I can ask for. You know, it's you know, a lot of people ask to send us stuff and things of that nature, but it's very difficult to get, you know, all these things, you know, over here. So it's easier for me and Rip to you know, buy it in country or in Poland and just get it you know, sent over.
Yeah, so it looks like you guys have logistics sorted out, especially with partnering with Combat.
Yeah, I mean, it gets better every day. We're just getting better at what we do. It's you know, everything's a learning curve, but it gets better every day. So we're you know, we're a pretty organized, legitimate organization that's going to just get better and better every day. So,
well, thanks a lot. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know, you know, any stories that you want to share, and make sure you donate as well to keep fighting this war.
Ripley'sHeroes.org.
All right, Slava Ukraine, guys.
What do I am?